Hey, this is Ben from MetricFire, and in this video, I'll walk through how to create alerts in Hosted Graphite, including how to use our composite alerting feature, which allows you to configure multiple conditions on your alerts. We think that the goal of alerting isn't to notify every time a single metric moves, because in most production environments, that can get really noisy. And in our experience, when you have too many alerts firing, alert fatigue sets in, and you start disregarding notifications, and then it's much easier to miss something critical. So instead, we believe in meaningful alerts that represent the conditions of an entire service. Think like load balancing layers, database, or API layers. So I'll show you how to configure a single service level alert that can be triggered by several different metric signals whenever their data goes out of bounds. Also, before creating an alert, it's important to understand that Graphite alerts operate on non-null values. So, in other words, the metric needs to be reporting actual numeric data in order for the alerting conditions to be properly evaluated. So here I'm looking at one of my Heroku Postgres database metrics. It's for waiting connections. I'm viewing it in our hosted Grafana. And before creating an alert, I always like to verify a few things. That the metric is actively reporting data, that there's no gaps of null data. And if there are gaps, they can be filled with Graphite functions like transform null or keep last value. And also that I understand what a normal operating range looks like. And all of these details help us tune our thresholds to ensure that the alert is meaningful and doesn't become too noisy. So once we've identified a metric worth monitoring, we can create a simple threshold alert. Now I'll just create a new alert with this Postgres metric. And I'll configure it to trigger when the metric is above 1 for 10 minutes. And I'll have it send notifications to my email and Slack channel. And we also integrate with other services like PagerDuty, MS Teams, or even a custom webhook URL. And it's really easy to configure your notification channels in our UI. Then at the bottom here, you can set the interval for continuous notifications, or you can choose on state change to get a notification once when the alert triggers and again when it recovers. And once the alert is saved, it will be continuously pulled and evaluated by our Graphite alerting engine. All right, now let's talk about composite alerting. Composite alerts allow us to combine multiple metric conditions and implement and/or logic. So instead of alerting on a single metric signal, we can model conditions for an entire service using multiple related metrics. And this is where our service-based alerting philosophy really comes into play. So for this example, I'll just update the same alert, which already uses my Postgres metric as condition A. Then for condition B, I'll use my Heroku Dyno metrics, aka web metrics. First, I'll check a query in Grafana to see the data, and you'll notice that I grouped all of these dynos together with a wildcard here. Now, I can see that I probably don't want it exceeding 1,000, so I'll use that value as my threshold. Now, I'm going to be using OR logic on this condition, meaning that if condition A or condition B exceed their limits, then I'll get an alert notification. Then for condition C, I'll use some of my Heroku 500 metrics and visually inspect them in Grafana here. And I'll also set this as an OR condition. So now if there's ever a burst of 500 statuses on my Heroku app, condition C will trigger my Heroku service alert. Then finally for condition C, I have a simple script sending some stats_d gauges to this account. You can see them here. So I'll set this query as another OR condition to trigger the alert if data is missing for 5 minutes. So now I'll get a notification if my Heroku Postgres or Dyno values are too high, or there's a burst of 500 statuses on my app, or my stats_d script stops reporting data. So now I'm just saving and stopping my stats_d script so the alert triggers. Okay, it's been about 5.5 minutes and the alert triggered as expected. And here's what the notification looks like in Slack. You can see useful details like the logical expression being used, A or B or C or D. which conditions triggered the alert, which in this case was condition D, and a sample of the triggered metrics so you can determine which specific parts of your service are being affected. And if there's more than 10 triggered metrics and you want to see a full list, you can get that in the app when you view the triggered alert and click this button here. And this list is especially useful when working with group wildcard queries because it only shows the offending metrics that triggered the alert. All right, now I'm going to restart my stats.d script, which will resolve the alert. Okay, I timed how long it took the alert to resolve once I restarted my script, and it was only about 75 seconds, which is pretty fast considering the data was ingested, stored, pulled, and evaluated. Something else worth mentioning is that you can also configure alerts in our hosted Grafana if you prefer. We just offer limited support for that because Grafana manages their own alerting engine. But there it is, a single alert that can cover up to 4 components of an overall service. So if you want to try this out for yourself, click the link in the description below and you can start a free 2-week trial of Hosted Graphite, send some performance metrics, then configure some alerts on them. If you have any questions or need any help, our support team is standing by to chat with you. And you can reach out to us anytime at support@metricfire.com for advice on how to build out a complete monitoring infrastructure for you and your team. All right, thanks for watching and happy monitoring.